I've had conversations with people about faith, hope, and love and what that means to them. And I have faith, hope, and love all over my house. I'm staring at faith, hope, and love right now. I've got so many signs and symbols of that are all around me. It has my perception of all those of faith and hope changed? Yeah. It's a great question because I used to think that I succeeded when I had a cure. And I realize I succeed when I love and honor myself and I trust the path I'm on. And I succeed when I allow the people who I love in my life to be part of my life and to help me. And I succeed when I have a good day. And good day doesn't mean it's not hard. It's just at the end of the day, I can say there were some really good things that happened today. And there are every day, even in my worst days, there are good things that happen. And that's pretty much how I prefer to end my day. I guess the hope part that has shifted for me is I used to think that hope had to show up right away, or hope had to be obvious. And now what I'm realizing is this has to happen for this to happen, for this to happen, for this to happen. And that's hope. Hope's over there. But if I didn't allow this to happen, and I didn't allow this to happen, this couldn't have happened, so that couldn't have happened. And so now I have a lot more patience. And when I want something to turn out a particular way, or I want something, I find if I can learn how to sit back and let it happen and let it unfold rather than forcing it, I'd say 9 out of 10 times it happens, but not necessarily, usually not in the way I thought at all. And so being open and being filled with gratitude, I talk almost daily with my friends about miracles. And lately my miracle would be is I could lose this tree trunk of edema, which would mean that the tumors aren't pushing on my organs and my abdominal and my nerves and my lymph. But I still say I have so many other miracles that happened to me today. So while I was waiting for that miracle, look at all these other miracles that happened. And so I truly believe that. I truly, truly believe that. And I think if we don't notice the miracles, then let's say one day I do wake up and my edema's down. If I was so focused on things that weren't working, I'd never notice the things that are working. And so I call those things that are working miracles. And they can be as simple as having a conversation with somebody and getting in a bickering fight with them every time you have the same conversation. And then one day finding yourself having the conversation with them and you're not bickering. I put that in the miracle category because boy, does it feel good to interact with them without that tension. And I'm like, didn't think that would happen, but thank you, that happened. So I find miracles in unsuspecting places. I think joy is also a big part. The recent ask I did of all my friends, where I sent out the letter saying I'd like you to send me either a heart or a butterfly, or even well, actually asked for the butterfly and the star, and then if you wanted to send a heart. One of my friends stopped by yesterday, and he knows how much I love Sedona, Arizona. He and his wife had just gone out there, and he said, I kind of broke from what you asked, but I hope this is okay. And it was a rock from Sedona, and it was in the shape of a heart, and it was tied to fishing line so that it could be hung. And I said, I was hoping people would be creative with this. This is an expression of you. And that's what I wanted. That I will always look up and remember that's Chris and Carol, because that was an expression of them. And so rather than me dictating, you must send a 3x5 card that, that is no fun to me. I'd rather it be in the form that is the expression of that individual. Joy. I think joy is underrated. I think we need more of it in our lives. So whatever you can do that brings you joy, whatever you can do that brings someone else joy, I'm all in favor of it, along with hope.
Suz, have you, would you say you've always been a person who's been able to see the joy in something or be patient with something and let it manifest, or is that something you learned over time, maybe through a hardship, or how did that develop in you?
That's a fun question. Yes, it's an and. I think I've always been a 3/4 glass. I have had bosses accuse me of being indefatigable or indefatigable, meaning never giving up. I always felt like if there was a way of doing it, I'm pretty sure we could figure it out. And I remember two things when I was younger. One, I used to ride my bike 12 miles every morning before work, and I would go down the street called Wydown, and then I go right around our Forest Park, which is this beautiful park that we're gifted to have in St. Louis that is actually bigger than Central Park in New York. And it has a beautiful bike path around it. And I'd ride back, and I'd be smiling the whole time because I'd be in such joy to be on my bike. And I was just happy to be out there. And I would see my regulars, and they would wave and they'd say, just love that smile. Good morning. How are you? And we never knew each other's names. There'd be other cyclists, there'd be runners, there'd be walkers. And even to this day, this is going to sound crazy, but I have a trash man named Patrick who is well known in Glendale. He's been written up. And when I used to walk my 5, 10,000, 12,000 steps, he'd see me miles from here, literally. And he always knew where I lived. And he'd be like, darling, you're walking farther than my truck drives. And he said, but I just love that smile that you have on your face. And so when he delivers, like this morning on Mondays, he comes and picks up the trash. He blares his horn and waits for me to come out and wave. So I guess in some instances, I've always had that smile on my face, and I've always been very hopeful. Have I gone through some horrid, dark periods? You bet I have. Have I gone through periods where I wondered, how was I going to make it through? You bet I have. Did I not? I was very negative. And that reflected in a lot of what I did. And I was fortunate to come through that. It wasn't an overnight thing, but yeah, I've gone through some really tough moments like everybody else where I didn't know if it was worth it, and I didn't know if I would make it, and I did. I will say, since my cancer diagnosis, I'm probably more grateful than I've ever been. That old saying, you don't realize what you have till it's gone. Wow. I attempt to tell people things that I think if they would just embrace this, or if they take a little more time for that, they're like, yeah, we do that. Yeah. And I know they're not hearing me. But gosh, if I just held on to those things a little differently, or valued them or appreciated them a little differently, because life was really easy. Life with cancer is not very easy at all. So even in those worst moments, it was easier than what I am going through now. And, but yet I feel I have more gratitude than I ever have. I had a lot of gratitude then, but I feel like I have even more now, because cancers can be very humbling. It can be, I know a lot of people who are very angry with cancer and feel like it's ruined their life and has destroyed them and their careers, and it'll never be the same. I've looked at it as a humbling life change. That is, I wouldn't have met you two. I would not have met so many incredible people in the last 4 years of my life had I not had cancer. There would have been no reason for our paths to cross. And I mean, I have met some incredible, incredible, incredible people. So, yeah. I know I keep saying it, we all have our own journey and path in cancer. As painful and as challenging and as difficult it is, there's so much beauty to be had in it, in terms of getting to know yourself better. I can honestly say, for me, once I learned how to love myself unconditionally, the other stuff doesn't matter. Because then I don't worry about if a protocol is going to work. I don't worry about if someone's going to like me, or I don't worry about if someone's going to agree with my choice. I haven't talked much about religion, but I will say, regardless of the religion I was raised and how I practice now, I truly believe it is God living through me and me living through God that is keeping me alive. Do I know who God is? Nope. Do I have to know? Nope. Do any of us know? Nope. Do I trust and believe and know it is a benevolent, loving, kind being, for lack of a better word? For me, it is, yes. And I was recently asked, am I afraid of what happens next? I said, no, I'm not. I just somehow trust in it all. Pain is probably the biggest challenge, because it makes me crabby, and I don't like being crabby, and I don't like my limitations that come with the cancer. But I trust that it's going to be okay. Whatever it is and wherever I end up next, it's going to be okay. That I truly believe. And if I could impart that and help other people believe that, that would be my gift to you.